China is one step closer towards implementing a controversial national security law in Hong Kong. The National People's Congress has approved plans to move forward with the legislation. Details of the law are expected to be drawn up in the coming weeks. It's expected to punish secession, subversion of state power, terrorism, and acts that endanger national security. Now, the law has already triggered fresh protests in Hong Kong. There are fears it will undermine the one country, two systems principle and erode the city's freedoms. But Chinese Premier Li Keqiang has dismissed those concerns.
一国两制是国家的基本国策，中央政府始终强调要全面准确地贯彻一国两制。 港人治港，高度自治，严格按照宪法和基本法办事，支持特区政府和行政长官依法施政，这是一贯的。因为你提到全国人大刚通过的有关维护国家安全的决定，也表明要使一国两制行稳致远，维护香港长期繁荣稳定。 谢谢。
Lynette Lim is live for us in Beijing. Good evening, Lynette. We've got this approval now. How soon can we expect this bill to become law?
Well, Dawn, typically we expect the process to take a while because you still need to have the National People's Congress Standing Committee to consult, to discuss, draft and fine-tune, and then they have to hold meetings to vote on it. And these meetings by the Chinese lawmakers are held once every 2 months. But we're seeing reports that, state that these, if there's a need, there can be interim meetings held. And reports are stating from Chinese media saying that this bill could then be expedited. This bill could then be made into law in a matter of months, just before the Hong Kong Legislative Council elections in September. Reports also say this would be implementation by way of promulgation, and what that simply means is that it will be enforced as written by the NPC Standing Committee, thereby bypassing the Hong Kong Legislative Council. And we earlier heard Premier Li Keqiang. He was actually addressing a question on whether this move signals that China is giving up or abandoning the one country, two systems policy and adopting a new attitude towards Hong Kong. So he denied that this was happening, and he said that this law is in fact would help in promoting and entrenching the one country, two systems policy.
Leonard, it's tradition for the Chinese Premier to take a range of questions from journalists at the end of the political meetings. What else did he focus on?
Well, US-China tensions was a large part of the 2-hour press conference. He said that both sides had their ups and downs in their decades-long relationship, but the relationship has always moved forward. So, in contrary to a lot of the, the back and forth we've seen in recent months, he struck a more conciliatory tone, and he's saying that, both sides need wisdom in order to find more common interests, and work together. And he also talked about the economy at length. He pledged that, whatever stimulus the government has announced would be put to good use. These he would make sure that these money go directly into real gains for people and businesses. And these would essentially translate into tax and fee cuts that would go into cash in pockets of people. He did address also why China did not set an economic growth target for this year.
中国经济已经深入地融合于世界经济，不可能置身之外。所以今年我们没有确定 GDP 增长的量化指标，这也是实事求是。经济增长不是不重要，我们这样做实际上也是 让人民群众对
So really, there's a shift in focus in recognizing
有更直接的感受，使经济增长有更高的质量。
So really there's a shift in focus here that really shows that there's an acknowledgement that the economy has been hard hit, and they want to focus on stabilizing jobs. They want to focus on making sure that businesses can reopen. So rather to be able to focus on doing these, they don't want to set a hard economic goal, which will then mean that all local and state governments will have to reach that arbitrary number. And he also said that they will do all they can to help migrant workers that have been displaced to find jobs and help the record 7.8 million number of college graduates coming out to the workforce this year to find jobs. Lastly, he touched on a very important goal for China this year, and that's to eliminate poverty by 2020. So he said that while he acknowledged that there could be some people falling back into poverty due to economic disruptions caused by COVID-19, before COVID-19, he said that there were 5 million people in China living under the poverty line. He estimates that this number could have gone up, but he also said that he's confident the country will be able to meet their target of eliminating poverty by the end of this year.
Okay, many thanks for that, Lynette Lim, speaking to us from Beijing.